The next substantial chance for rain is Friday. No big cool downs in the immediate forecast. With news on 103.9 WYAB, I'm Chris Davis. An investigator with the Prentiss County Sheriff's Department was hit by a car Monday. Colby Knight was said to be alert and talking after he was taken to an emergency room in Tupelo. He was hit on Highway 371 just north of Marietta, according to the Sheriff's Department.
Governor, do your job. Get Jackson State this new stadium so we can have the council center built right. It will be built right now where the stadium sits.
Jackson City Councilman Kenneth Stokes speaking for the proposed new stadium for Jackson State and the proposed UMMC Cancer Research Center, which would be built on the site of Veterans Memorial Stadium at State and Woodrow Wilson. C Spire has donated $5 million for the Cancer Center. The state would have to throw in money for the JSU Stadium. A body was found in the street about 12:45 Monday morning on Brown Street. Detective Tommy Brown with JPD says the man was found with several gunshot wounds when police got there and was later pronounced dead. No arrests have been announced and the man's name was not released. 4 people had to be airlifted to the hospital in a Saturday night wreck in Lafayette County. The info just coming from the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department. They say the wreck happened on County Road 313 with the car off the road and all 4 people with critical injuries. 3 were taken to Tupelo and 1 to Memphis. 6 people arrested and 1 young girl rescued in a human trafficking sting in Gulfport. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
All right. This is not Andrew Gosser. This is Chris Hinkle, your ever-loving, blunt force conservative. We are streaming live on audio on WYAB.com. We are also streaming live on X, on Rumble, and YouTube. The call-in line for today, a little bit about me, if you haven't heard from me or you haven't heard from me in a while. My name is Chris Hinkle. I am a retired FBI supervisory special agent. I've been living here in Mississippi now for 20 years. This time, we lived here before for a few years back in the early 90s. I am also a husband, a father, and a newly minted grandfather, thanks to our oldest, Jake, and his lovely wife, Sarah Grace, have brought us our little Sutton, who will be 5 months old next week. Speaking of birthdays, I want to give a shout out to our middle son, Josh Hinkle. Josh is 27 years old today. That is weird, considering that I'm only 49, so I'm not sure how we do the math on that. Anyway, welcome to the Andrew Gasser Show. We've got a great lineup today. I've got a good friend of mine that's coming on with me here in just a minute. And his name is FX Regan. You may have heard of him on X. You may have read some of his things on Substack. You may have read some of his books. He is also a retired FBI agent. He was a senior executive. FX Regan is not his name. It'll be up to him if he wants to disclose that. I know what his real name is. He trusts some people with that, and I'm not disclosing it. But let me bring him on the air with us right now. FX, how you doing today? Are you there?
Hey, good morning. What's going on?
Nothing much is going on. Just I know we've been enthralled with this Nancy Guthrie kidnapping, and I took the time to read your your Substack article, which has been a great foundation of information for those in our little text group, both on X and a couple of us that have a regular text group. Some of our good friends, Jim Galliano, John Nance. I thought you did an excellent job with it. What prompted you to write this article about the Guthrie kidnapping?
Well, everybody's paying attention to it, obviously. And I think to answer your question more specifically, just seeing a lot of so-called experts weighing in and saying definitively it's this or it's that. And so I just kind of sat down with a pencil and wrote down, like, would I come up with 8 different things it could be? And I've been pretty careful not to say one way or the other what I'm sure it is, because I'm not. This thing's all over the place. And I've worked these things before. So I've seen, cases that were solved in a couple hours. And I think I put in that article, I worked one in the field that took 2 years to solve. And unfortunately, the victim was found dead. So that's what prompted me to do it. Just the opinions out there that people are really sure what happened.
So looking at the timeline is the thing that I first keyed in on. Well, actually, the first thing I keyed in on was in having been a hostage negotiator, the kidnappings, typically it's the one thing that is like the movies is most kidnappers will say, don't go to the law enforcement and don't go to the press. And
right.
That is not what's happening here. We've had what is purported to be some ransom messages that were sent through TMZ and some other local media outlets. I don't think we've even gotten an answer if those things are even legit. I'd heard something, and it was probably just reported in the press. I've not heard anything definitively because, like you, I don't accept leaked information from inside the government, especially from the FBI. I wouldn't put it out there. I wouldn't accept it. And if somebody tried to leak it to me, I probably would tell somebody about it because it's not supposed to work that way. But I'd heard something about that maybe some foreign VPNs. I don't know if it's somebody is smart enough to go through multiple VPN hops overseas and then send a message. What I do think is it could be some nefarious individuals looking to take advantage of the situation, because it took a little while for that first letter or ransom note to come out, the one that went to TMZ. I think it was
right.
I think it was like it wasn't even on Sunday, the day that she was reported missing. It was like Monday. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it was 48 hours. I think it could be both, what you were just saying. I'm with you that if it's, a legit kidnapping, somebody broke in there and, walked her out of there, it doesn't add up that they would wait 48 hours to send a ransom note. Usually you do it sooner. At least that's been my experience. And I'm with you that I don't know that they would have, somebody who's doing a smash and grab kidnapping. I'm not sure they have the expertise to put it through VPNs and make it look like it came from overseas and have Bitcoin count all ready to go and all of that. So it could be both a real kidnapping, like a robbery, burglary gone bad, and they decided to take her out with no intention of ransoming her, just getting rid of her. And then somebody else jumped in, they have 48 hours to think about it. Maybe, some other actor, maybe overseas, maybe not, said, hey, we can get this Savannah Guthrie lady to give us some money and make it look like, we're the kidnappers. So that could be the possibility.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on the cryptocurrency thing, other than it seems to be similar to what I used to use in the early days when I was on the National Computer Crime Squad at Washington Field Office with the FBI, where we used PGP, that pretty good privacy, where it,
Right.
you have encryption keys on each end, and then the people in between can't see what's there, and you can't decode the message without that encryption key. The other thing that I look at, and this was brought up, I was on News Nation.
Hey, wait a minute. I want to go back to that crypto thing for a
Sure.
second. And I'm like you. I'm not an expert. I've just been following it from afar since a couple of years ago, past my time in the Bureau. But if you go back just a couple of years, I think there have been cases where the FBI has been able to go back and get that crypto and actually indicted and brought people to prosecution where they thought, this is impenetrable and nothing can be done once, crypto goes from one wallet to another. That's not 100% true. It's not easy, but I think the Bureau and maybe some other affiliated agencies have that technology. So, I don't think we know today if they paid. It's been, I've seen reports that they did not pay, the family did not pay, but it's not been. I haven't seen anything definitive on that.
Yeah,
But
I think it comes into just good old fashioned police work. So when I look at it, even if the encryption is on each end, there are two places that it's not encrypted, and that's on the sender. Before they're sending anything. So if you get access to that computer and the encryption key, of course, you've got what you need. And on the other end, the other thing is with that amount of money, the government, federal government, FBI, Treasury, and all that's pretty good about tracking through financial networks. So trying to disperse, let's say it's $6 million, you get it in your crypto key on the other side, unless you're just buying stuff through your crypto wallet. But if you're wanting to actually take that money out, taking it out in a large amount is going to set off things. How small of amount and how long are you willing to try to do things? How long are you willing to wait? Like a couple of years to do it. So it's what I used to tell people when they were shocked at how quickly those of us in the FBI were able to track people down. It's, the bad guy has to be lucky every time he goes out there and does something. I only got to be lucky once to catch him. And I think that's what we'll end up seeing is if they did send that money over, and I know the FBI is not going to give them recommendations to pay or not pay the ransom. They will likely help them craft messages that are sent out. Another thing that I saw up there that kind of struck me, and I'm not one into conspiracy theories, but I also don't think that the government bats 1,000 on things that they put out there. The first speech that Miss Guthrie gave, Savannah, had some phrases in there that were eerily similar to a statement that was made in the Silence of the Lambs movie. And I saw a couple of postings of that, and that could be just something simple as that's just a phrase that was in her head, or, you may have AI try to help you write something and it pulls from that. It could be multiple things. I don't think it's necessarily a negative. It was just something that was interesting that I saw there. What's some other things other than, well, I know the timeline, you talked about the timeline in your article. What are some things that really kind of make you scratch your head, or you're like, well, this doesn't seem logical when you're looking at the timeline?
Well, not so much the timeline. I mean, I think that the timeline kind of adds up. Again, it's going to come down to, is it an insider, like a family member? Because those are the last people that saw her. And that certainly is the first place you start, if nothing else, just to establish, the timeline the best you can, who saw her last, and when it was a family member. But other than that, I mean, I think some of the wild speculation we saw, especially at the beginning of, when this first broke, about like it had to be the brother-in-law or, something like that. I mean, I haven't seen any evidence of that. And I think that's, if keyboard investigators on X are thinking about it, for sure the cops and the FBI are thinking about it. So I think they ran that to ground.
Well, I had some people ask me some questions about what was going on at the sister's house where they were in taking pictures. Right. And I said, well, that's not unusual for them to go back. Just because the sheriff released the crime scene area at the mother's house doesn't mean that you can't go back, and you still have to try to go back and dot your I's and cross your T's. The questions that, somebody like my family, my brother was asking me was, I think it was my brother or brother-in-law was asking me, well, what about the drainage area, where they were poking in with a stick? And I said, logically, I can see how that happens. You're standing around the search area. Somebody looks over and goes, hey, anybody look in that that drainage thing over there, that's big enough to put a body in. No, we haven't. And then you go over there and open it up and you poke around in it with a stick. So I don't necessarily subscribe to the fact that they got some information that something had been put in there. But I do think that there is something to the fact that they were taking pictures at night. You want the room as dark as possible when you start spraying luminol around. If you're going to be looking for blood traces.
I agree with that. But we've heard, and again, all of this is just what anybody can pick up. We're not insiders. But
we do have some knowledge, skills, and experience in this area. So there is some credibility to what we have to say. But like you, I have to be careful what I say. I do have my suspicions, but I'm not saying what they are.
I was just saying that in the vein that we've heard it's a consent search as opposed to they had a probable cause to go back there at night and take pictures of luminol and all that. Again, to your point, somebody says, hey, it's a couple days later. We haven't been to the sister, so let's just go see if she'll let us do a search there.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Hey, could you hold on for a moment? And let's take an obscene profit timeout. Let's come back and talk a little bit more about this. And then if you're able to stay into the second half of the hour, I definitely want to start talking about your books, your series with CJ Hawk, your other FX Regan books, maybe talk a little bit about your background. You can decide if you want to.
Sure.
I don't want to say come out of the closet, but you can decide if you want to tell people who you really are. I'm not telling people who you really are, other than you are a bona fide, experienced senior executive from the FBI, and you definitely know what you're talking about. All right, this is Chris Hinkle. I am on the Andrew Gasser Show. We are going to take an obscene profit timeout here. I have stolen that from hold on, automated client schedule. There we go. I have stolen that from Rush Limbaugh's show. I love that obscene profit timeout. It's a way to pay the bills. So we are going to come back right after this. We're going to have some more with FX Regan. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Guthrie kidnapping, and then we're going to talk about his book series that he's got out there that is just amazing. So we will see you on the other side of this obscene profit timeout.
WYAB, it's the hottest show around. Andrew Gasser Show. Hey Jackson, turn it up. Let your message go. They're tuned in, you know. Put your business in the spotlight on the Andrew Gasser Show.
Advertise with Andrew. Email info@wyab.com.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Broad Street King Cakes, pass that plate. Broad Street King Cakes taste so great. From Jackson Town to every state, bestKingCake.com, don't wait. Lines out the doorway, laughter in the air. Hidden little baby waiting in there somewhere. From now till Mardi Gras, you know where to be. Or click that link and make your kitchen Bourbon Street. Oh, Broad Street, King Case. Broad Street, King Case. Jackson Town to every state. BestKingCake.com, don't wait.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
All right, we are back on the Andrew Gasser Show. I am Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative, retired FBI supervisory special agent, a renowned, undefeated constitutional expert. I am undefeated on the constitutional debate stage. My guest on this show today is FX Regan, retired FBI supervisory special agent and author. And I keep almost calling you by your first name. There. I promise I won't. But I think FX can attest. I'm pretty sound on the Constitution. He knows some mutual people that have decided to step on that stage with me, and some of them kind of walk away a little hurt. But let's get back to this Guthrie thing. So we're looking at what are we, like day 10 now? That we haven't seen any proof of life, at least not in the media. I don't know if they have anything in the background, but the most recent FBI posting was that there is no breaking news. There is no additional information. I do think, and you will probably agree with this, I do think this case is going to break wide open soon. How do I know that? Because our good friend Jim Galliano is out there reporting for Fox News. Fox News flew him out to Arizona. So Gags is on.
Because I've not seen him on that. What's his theory?
He is he asked the same kind of questions that we do. Things seem kind of odd, and Gags has Jim has a unique perspective on it, having worked as an assistant legal attaché down in Mexico dealing with kidnappings down there. So he's cautioning a lot of the speculation that's out there. He's explaining a lot of the technology that the FBI is using, the electronic technology. But it really comes down, he's kind of saying the same things that we say, which is it really just comes down to good old-fashioned police work. I don't know if AI is even ever going to replace that, of the gut feeling that you get as an investigator. And I used to tell people, my degrees in education and psychology, when you have that gut feeling that something's there, but you don't know why you have it, there is something substantive that gives you that gut feeling, even though you may not be able to articulate it. So is there anything else that you think that we're not hearing a lot of the experts in the media talk about? I keep hearing almost the same thing from every person out there, even some of our fellow retirees that are positing on this. It's getting kind of redundant with the things that they're saying, because there's not really any new information.
One of the things that I've not seen a lot of, I've seen it, but not a lot, and it's popped up here just a little bit ago, that they're doing DNA swabs of people who work for her around the property, people who work on the pool, And that's something that might not have been focused on by us, by the outsiders looking in. And that, that happens. There are, people that they're maintenance folks, painters, cleaners, pool company. There are people that have access to the property that know her, who probably know that she has a famous daughter. So I wouldn't discount that. I think that's a viable possibility. And they probably wouldn't be very good at, pulling off a kidnapping and then, the whole ransom note to the local Tucson station and to TMZ. And so that would fit in with the theory that part might be completely unrelated and they're just scammers trying to take advantage of, a high profile kidnapping. So I would not discount the workers.
Yeah. The thing that I was kind of curious about, typically, and you were a street cop before, and we're going to talk about your background here in a little bit. You were a street cop before. I tell people that typically the local law enforcement, the sheriff's department, police department, are much more adept at conducting missing persons. Well, not missing persons, but if it's a murder investigation or something like this, they deal with this more often than the FBI does. Now, the FBI can bring valuable resources that provide assistance to those individuals, but I think in the beginning, and I'm not trying to be critical of the sheriff's department, you have a limitation of resources. I think that that going back to the crime scene was probably a good idea of where she came up missing. And you and I both know when you go in there, you want to be able to verify who had access to this house. And I think that plays into the people working on the pool and stuff. She obviously wasn't cleaning her own pool at 84, 85 years old, probably wasn't doing her own lawn care, but you want to go look in that house and I would say take prints, and then you want to have elimination prints. What prints can we identify? They should match up with family members that come into the house. And then if you end up getting that unusual print that, okay, this doesn't match anybody we know, let's find out who this person is. That's kind of the steps that you go through. And I don't know if they actually got that in the beginning. I'm pretty confident they're getting it now. But of course, now you may need some elimination prints from some media people that trounced through that crime scene before it was taken back over. Pull your old detective local police work coupled with your FBI experience. Take us through some steps of what you would do.
Work. When I was at the police department, I was we had a really unique CSI. The sworn officers on the street were trained. In fact, it was a promotion. It was like the first level detective was what we in the department called a police agent, and we processed crime scenes. So I did quite a bit of that before I went to the FBI. And my thoughts on the whole, what you said is important, because you can't go back and redo it after people have been in there. It's contaminated. Once you leave the scene unsecured, and anybody could have gone in. So you go back later and try and reprocess it, and somebody gets arrested. Their defense is, well, I just went back way after. I wasn't in there before she was kidnapped. Mm-hmm. But what I was going to say was, if let's go with either a family member or somebody who worked for her, they're gonna have access to the property. So just because their fingerprints or DNA are inside, you expect her daughter, you expect her son, you expect the son-in-law, you expect, pool guy, maybe not in the house, but you could say we need to get paid, get a drink of water. If she has maids, they're going to be in there. So you have to do it. You absolutely have to cover all the bases, but it's not. I don't believe it's 100% that that's going to solve the case, because it may be somebody who knows her in one fashion or another. I
still think, based on the cases that I've worked, it's going to come down to the interviews coupled with with collections of evidence. There's going to be something where you go back through the interviews and you re-interview people, not just family members, but others around, that there's going to be something that's going to say, this doesn't match up and we need to clarify this. I also would bet in the early portions of the interviews where they're talking to family members, you need a really good, experienced investigator there, because you're going to ask some very uncomfortable questions. I'm not going to say what those are right now, but you're going to ask those. The other thing, and you having been in executive management in the FBI, and I talked about this when I was on News Nation or maybe I was talking to one of their producers, is when you're the lead investigator and you're running 90 to nothing, a big hindrance to those investigations is when executive management starts getting involved. Hey, I need an update. Hey, you need to tell me this. Hey, I need an urgent report. It's one of the reasons I didn't think it would have been wise for Kash Patel to show up on the scene. You don't need that, because you end up having people hammering you at every level of management, similar to like Office Space, where 5 levels of managers are asking you for the same information, and you're just trying to get the case worked, and then you have to stop and tell somebody something, and then tell somebody something, and then tell somebody something, and that can be a hindrance. Usually happens a couple of days in the investigation. Before we take a break here and then come back and talk about your writing career, your post FBI work, what's your thoughts, having been an executive on that? Did you try to work on shielding the guys that are running hard on the ground from unnecessary interference, not interference, unnecessary contact
100%.
from executive management?
Yes, 100%, because it is a distraction. You just need to know the big stuff as an executive. In fact, I've been a little critical. I'd like to be critical of any law enforcement officer doing their job, because I'm not there doing it. I'm sitting at home. But one of the things that I learned as an executive was use your PIO, your public information officer, because they can go out and say a lot of things like, I don't know, or I haven't heard that. Sheriffs or chiefs, mayors, politicians, they don't like to say they don't know, or in any way indicate they don't have a feel for what's going on. So that's why you have a public information officer say, I don't know, but I'll get back to you on that, or I'll go ask. It doesn't mean that the sheriff doesn't have a public face. He should, but he should limit it to, very cursory remarks, and then introduce people, and not be the guy taking Q&A and going on, the talk shows and doing all that, because he puts himself in a very vicarious situation. We've seen it.
Yeah.
So 100%. Let the troops do their job. Just tell me what I need to know when I need to know it. If I think I have of something based on my experience, I'll let you know. But otherwise, you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take this other break, and when we come back, I want to let you give your quick bio of your background and experience, and then I want to talk about how you got into this writing of writing these novels. I can't imagine. I looked at the number of books that you've written, and I'm amazed. I have difficulty sitting down trying to write a cogent, 1,100 word article for a magazine or an online source or something. I can't imagine having to sit down and write these things out like you do, writing books. So we will come back right after this obscene profit timeout. This is Chris Hinkle. I am in for Andrew Gasser on the Andrew Gasser Show, and we will be right back after this.
America, where people's emotions are their facts. Okay, if you tell them ICE is the Gestapo, some of them really want to stop ICE because they're like, well, I don't want to be the guy who was alive in the next Hitler generation came and didn't do anything. I don't either. Okay, think about that. My great-grandparents fought the Nazis only so I could be called a Nazi for wanting to protect this country. It's the dumbest time there's ever been to be alive. But the point is, when all the Republicans are racist, Hitler election denying fascists, it's a lot easier to attack them. When ICE is a secret police, that are masked men that are disappearing people, you hear that and go, I don't like the idea of masked men disappearing people, except there's one problem. Nobody's disappearing.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Hello, I'm John Mosley from Clinton Body Shop, and I'm pleased to announce that Clinton Body Shop has now received the prestigious Cadillac CT6 aluminum repair certification. If you buy one of these great cars and have an accident, call Clinton Body Shop. We can repair your car back to the standards GM designed your car to meet. This certification was an expensive and complicated process, but we feel like we owe that to you to return these cars to pre-accident conditions. In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
Pack up the kiddos, hop in the car. It's a sweet little getaway, it's not too far.
For candy, chocolate, sweets, and treats. Smiles from the door to the back row seats.
Hey! Mississippi Candy Company. Bring your kids and the memories. Grandma, Grandpa, come and see. It's an excellent trip for the whole family. Down D's Drive-In Gluckstadt. Mississippi Candy Company. That's where it's at.
Hey kids, ask your parents and grandparents to go right now.
When you feel like your business is drowning in paperwork and compliance issues, it's time to call Peoplease. Let Peoplease take care of the busy work so that you can save valuable time and focus on what really matters, growing your business. Peoplease is based in Ridgeland, so you're always dealing with local professionals who will actually understand your business and its needs. Join thousands of satisfied clients who trust Peoplease to simplify their employee administration. Visit peoplease.com. That's peoplease.com to learn more.
This Valentine's Day, be the hero without the hassle. At Green Oak, we're the Valentine's Day experts. We know exactly what she wants, and we make it easy for you to get it right. Choose from stunning hand-designed floral arrangements and gifts online at greenoakms.com or visit us in-store in Jackson next to Palm Bridges Park or in Ridgeland at the Township. Green Oak does all the work. You get all the credit. Order now at greenoakms.com and make this Valentine's Day unforgettable. Green Oak, Jackson's floral expert since 1960.
Your pool should be something you enjoy, not something you fight with. Hi, I'm Darren with Elite Pools. At Elite Pools, we do more than just service. We take care of everything your pool needs, from your routine maintenance to your full repairs, upgrades, and even complete transformations. If your pool needs a little attention or a fresh start, then Elite Pools can bring it back to life. Visit Elite Pools online at elitepoolsms.com. That's elitepoolsms.com. Or give us a call. At Elite Pools, we keep you swimming.
All right, we are back on the Andrew Gasser Show. I am Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative. You can find me on X at BF Conservative, all one word. We are live streaming there. We are live streaming on YouTube and on Rumble. And I've got my good buddy FX Regan on here. All right, so I'm going to pull up for those guys and gals, the kids at home that are watching online. They will see a screenshot from Amazon.com with about at least 8 of your books that you've written. Let's start off with the question that I know everybody wants me to ask. How did you come up with the name FX Regan?
I don't know. It's a good name. It works. Looks good on the cover. Sounds good. It's my name.
Okay. It's not spelled like Ronald Reagan's last name. There's no Reagan that's in there, but
right.
It is a, not everybody is, I don't know. Your real name would look good on a cover, I think. But I do like the FX Regan. It is eye catching when people pull it out there. So real quick, tell everybody your bio. Give us a little look into your background and experience up to the point where you started writing.
Sure. I was in law enforcement for 33 years, 5 years at a police department right outside of Washington, D.C. Real short time as diplomatic security. When I was in the police department, applied to the FBI, went almost all the way through the process, and then got that, oh, we're not hiring now. They're in one of those hiring freezes. And I was in for a couple other federal jobs, Secret Service and diplomatic security, which a lot of people don't know about, but I knew about because a lot of cops in Northern Virginia went there because they knew about it. And it was a good job. but I was there for about 2 years, and I got the call back from the bureau, like, where we've opened up the hiring process again, and all you have to do is pee in a bottle, and I think that was it. Just take the drug test and go to Quantico. So I did, and went from diplomatic security to the FBI. I was there for 25 years, 7 transfers, I think, all around the country. The most amount of time I spent in any one place was Detroit for almost 8 years. And then I bounced around and retired after 25 years and went into the private sector. I had 2 private sector jobs where I worked for a major retailer as their vice president for asset protection. And then I worked for a pretty good size manned security company, one of the bigger and growing manned security companies in the country. It has since been acquired by an overseas concern that's gotten even bigger. I was the chief operating officer there. So that was about it. And, when I went into the private sector is when I really started writing. I almost completed like an autobiography. It was a series of vignettes about my career, going back to the police department, one big case when I was at diplomatic security, a lot of stuff from the FBI. And I wanted to make it different. I've read a lot of autobiographies by FBI agents, and they all seem the same. My first day at Quantico, my first felony arrest, my first transfer, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't very good. No matter how different I tried to make it, it wasn't very good. So I thought to myself, what if I just write fiction? If I have a pen name, I can write anything I want, because if it's not true, then people I worked with will know what's true and what's not true, because they won't know who I am. Also, by using a pen name, by the way, I can throw bricks at the FBI, which I occasionally do. I haven't cheerleaded for the Bureau, but I call it like I see it.
Yeah.
And anybody that followed me to see what I've written about Russia collusion knows that I was no fan of a number of people at the top of the organization for several years. But the pen name allows me to do that. So I turned basically that autobiography into a bunch of books, and just I've said on a lot of podcasts, almost everything in those books is true. One fashion or another.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't happen in the same city. They didn't happen to the same people. Obviously, the names have all been changed. But all those little stories are things that really happened. And that's kind of how I got going on fiction and started writing books.
Yeah, I like the titles on there. When I see Fairfax Station, Washington Field, and the titles of your books, taken from places that I frequented a lot during my 7 years in DC. I didn't get to the executive management level like you did. Apparently, in
some regards, you didn't miss anything.
Well, we used to have the joke in there, like so and so got promoted. Oh yeah, all they had to do was fog the mirror, and then they put you in there. But I'm always appreciative of the people that do take that path, because of the fact unless you stay in what I would, I think you've probably heard it called the Golden Triangle of Washington
Right.
Field, headquarters
Right.
in Baltimore, and just bounce around from there. You're going to have to move up, and it's uprooting your family and, kids and stuff like that. And I was fortunate.
I'll tell you a little story, Chris. When I EOD'd, I came in for the Alexandria division back when it was still the field office.
Oh yeah.
And maybe the listeners don't all know, but I don't know if they still do it, but a truism of the FBI for almost 100 years was that your first assignment was away from your home city. So wherever you got hired from, you went somewhere else. And you remember when we were at Quantico, they had you fill out a list. And today, I think they do all 56 offices or 55, whatever it is, 1 through 55. Back then, it was like 10. Put down the 10 offices you want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I was being cute. I thought they'd let me go to Washington Field because I came into Alexandria, and they didn't see it that way. Sent me to Detroit anyway.
Yeah. It's, it was 56 when I filled out, the dream sheet at the academy. Did you guys put the money in the pot for whoever got the worst pick when you went through?
No.
Okay.
They would have had a fight about that, because about half the people in my class were pissed off what they got. So.
Well, it was, they had the lowest pick, 1 through 56 when you ranked them. And I let my wife fill out the rankings on there. And of course, she started with concentric circles, working from Birmingham division out, since we were from Alabama. And I ended up winning the money. Each of my 41, counting me, classmates, we all put $10 in the pot. And whoever got the worst pick, I didn't even realize I got the worst pick when I got Washington Field.
What did you get? What was your first pick? Was it Washington Field?
No. Well, first pick, my first office was WFO. That was the worst pick in the entire class as far as rankings. They just looked to see where it was ranked, and I think it was just ahead of like New York and San Francisco, places like that, Detroit.
But when I was at Quantico, I think we did 10. We didn't do the whole 56, and I don't know how many times this happened. We had somebody from the transfer unit come into our class like week 3 and say, and this is back when it was just the top 12.
Yeah.
1987 is when I UAB. Somebody from transfer unit came in and said, okay, we have a one-time special offer. If you raise your hand to go to a top 12 office, because you're going to go there in 2 to 3 years. And this is when they were pretty firm about transferring agents from, a small, medium-sized office to a top 12 office. If you raise your hand right now and volunteer for a top 12, we promise it won't be New York, San Francisco, or LA. And I jumped on that, and about half the class did. But, this is when New York was really bad, before they had the demonstration project and they got extra pay for, locality pay and all that. There were guys quit like left and right in New York because of the cost of living. So I jumped on it, and a lot of people did too.
19 out of the 41 in my class went to WFO, to Washington Field.
Really? That's a lot. Yeah.
And out of the 19, only one person got a substantive squad. The other, 2 people got a substantive squad. The other 17 were sent to applicants because we were.
That happens all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
They were so frustrated.
They were sending people right from Quantico to TDY at WFO to do applicants.
Yeah, I remember that
for years.
So real quick before we jump off here, because we're gonna have to cut it short to go into another break, and then I'm gonna come back and close out some things. Tell people where they can find you, where they can get your books. And I appreciate you modeling CJ Hawk after me. I didn't realize that you followed my career in the FBI. So, that TV show Night Agent is loosely based on me as well. So,
I've talked to Matt. He wrote that book and he didn't know it, but there was a night agent in the bureau. In big offices, they called it the night agent.
Yeah.
Basically answer the phone. Yeah, FXRegan.com is pretty much you'll see where you can go from there to anywhere else. FX Regan at Instagram, FX Regan at Twitter, and on Substack. So all those places, and all my books are on Amazon. They're all on Kindle. They're all on audiobook. They're all on Kindle Unlimited if you have that, paperback and ebook.
Awesome. It's I've got it on my reading list, but since the granddaughter came along here 5 months ago next week, I have not had time to do any reading, writing, or anything. I actually tried to pull back on some of the media stuff, but I've actually kind of been thrown back into it. You know how it works in our little group or something.
Yep.
If Jim Galliano is like, "Hey, I can't do this. Can you do this?" and it's usually passed around there, and then we tend to privately be critical of some of our retirees that are out there, like, oh my God, I can't believe they're asking that person about this. They don't know anything. They probably say the same thing about me. Well, FX, I appreciate you coming on. Any timeline on when you're actually going to come out and let people know who you are?
Don't know. I'll have to stay tuned for that.
I heard a rumor that if they buy the majority of your books, that there are clues in there that who you are. They just have to go through and put. Is that just a rumor, or you think that there are clues in there that they can figure out who you are if they go buy your books?
They might. Yeah, they might.
Yeah, I think people should go out and buy your books and figure. And if you figure it out, contact me at BF Conservative on X, and you can DM me and let me know. Hey, I figured out who he is. Is this him? And I'll give you a thumbs up or thumbs down if it's him.
Okay, I'll do it.
But thanks for coming on today. I truly appreciate it. Best of luck to you. I hope family is doing well. And I'll talk to you soon on the chat or text or telephone, our usual venues.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, bud. All right, we're going to take this last obscene profit timeout, come back, close out this first hour, and then jump into some Mississippi politics in the next hour. We're going to hurt some feelings there. This is Chris Hinkle in for Andrew Gasser on WYAB.
1039 WYAB.
Hello, friends and neighbors. This is David Frederick. I'm here to tell you about the latest development here at Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. In an effort to always bring you the very best brands, I am proud to announce that Frederick Sales and Service is Central Mississippi's newest dealer for Skag zero-turn mowers and products. We have deals on one of the industry's best brands of zero-turn mowers, Skag. You can buy now and pay later because 0% financing is also available at Frederick's. Come see our inventory. We're here serving you for over 3 decades in Brandon since 1993.
Hi, folks. Kim Wade here. Mississippi Energy Services provides generators. That's right. You may not need it now, but when you need backup power, you need a backup power generator from Mississippi Energy Services. Never again have to worry about being without heat, air conditioning, or all your frozen items spoiling because your energy was lost. You got backup power now, and it's so reliable. You'll be pleased with Mississippi Energy Services. Online at msenergy.us.
Have you thought about the cost of long-term care? In Mississippi, a home health aide can cost over $57,000 a year, and a private nursing home room can exceed $109,000 annually. Hi, my name is Cressley Pierce at Pierce Professional Agency. Long-term care insurance may help protect your savings and give you more options and peace of mind as you age. Learn how planning ahead could save you money and stress. Find me, Cressley Pierce, online today at MadisonPlans.com. That's MadisonPlans.com.
If you want the best health care, where do you go? The Mayo Clinic. If you want the best care for your vehicle, where do you go? Mayo Auto Clinic in Raymond. Mayo Auto Clinic does foreign and domestic vehicles and diesel repair. Mayo Auto Clinic has ASE certified techs with over 25 years of experience. You can extend the life of your car or truck when you take it to Mayo Auto Clinic. For cost-effective repairs and maintenance, go to the best, Mayo Auto Clinic. Open weekdays at 7 a.m. Highway 18 in Raymond.
Attention homeowners and business owners. Complete Exteriors is now Elite Roofing and Gutters. Are your roof and gutters storm ready? The folks at Elite are your local experts in storm protection. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at EliteRoofer.com. What are people saying about Tom's Fried Pies in Richland?
Tom's Fried Pies. And I made the mistake. I ordered one pie. I figured, you know what? I'll try Tex-Mex. It was so good. Man, second go round, I ate the pecan pie. You will need a meat pie and a dessert one. Get both because they are off the hook.
I went to Tom's Fried Pies today, and I'm going back. I tried the taco one. Really good. When I go back, I'll bring some home.
Tom'sFriedPies.com.
Even with interest rates higher than recent norms, real estate values are still holding strong in Mississippi. We caught up again with one of Mississippi's top real estate agents, Shane Saxon, to explain his recent activity in the market.
In the last year or so, it's been the best of my career. Interest rates have been high, but the real estate market is here to stay. Land values especially are continuing to rise. Home values are holding. If you need help with anything in real estate, just give me a call.
Find Shane Saxon on Facebook or give him a call at 601-540-5040. Offer property 601-74-1435.
Seeing well plays a big role in helping you read well. That's why it's not a minute too soon for students of all ages to schedule an eye exam with Dr. Bobby C. Pankey and Associates in Clinton and Richland. They can also help you with a great selection of frames, lenses, and contacts, all at affordable prices. See well, read well, do well. For all your back-to-school eye care needs, visit Optical 2000 Clinton and Richland. Optical-2000.com.
Stay in touch. Follow Optical 2000 on Facebook.
All right. It's Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative, retired FBI agent. And I'm here. We got about 1 minute. We're going to take our top of the hour break. When we come back in the second hour, We're going to talk some Mississippi politics. There's a Senate bill out there that I have a problem with that I'm going to detail why. We're going to talk about what we need to do with our elected representatives who don't seem to have our best interest at heart, how some of those individuals got into office. And it's not necessarily because there was a surge of individuals that said, this is the person we want to represent us. I've been very critical of that. I do think that if we can get back to the foundation of the Constitution and move forward that way, the better we will be as a nation and as a society and as Mississippians. I consider myself a Mississippian now, having lived here for the past 20 years and earlier. So we are going to head to that break. I will see you in just a few moments.
I'm Steve Kathan. Congress turns up the heat on key immigration officials for the first time since the administration's deadly crackdown in Minnesota.
The officials defended President Trump's immigration crackdown and declared the nation's border security is stronger than ever. ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons urged lawmakers to tone down the rhetoric against his agents.
We are facing the deadliest operating environment in our agency's history.
Mississippi Democrat Benny Thompson.
They are reckless, creating chaos in our communities, terrorizing adults and children alike.
He accused the Trump administration of weaponizing the Department of Homeland Security. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Amid calls for him to resign, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick insisted to Congress today he had limited contact with Jeffrey Epstein.
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies.
The files released by the Justice Department contradict some of Lutnick's earlier comments about Epstein. Now to Arizona, where CBS's Andres Gutierrez is following the search for Savannah Guthrie's 84-year-old mother.
With another deadline that has passed and no follow-up contact, it raises serious questions for investigators about whether that note was legitimate, for whether it actually came from whoever took Nancy or whether this, in fact, is even a kidnapping. So for now, the FBI says they need the public's help more than ever. They believe someone out there has critical information, and they are urging that person to come forward.
New survey indicates American optimism may be fading, as we hear from CBS's Jim Krasula.
The number of Americans who expect they will have, quote, high-quality life in the years ahead has dropped to a 2-decade low, according to a new Gallup poll. 6 in 10 people surveyed said they expected their lives would be significantly better in the future than today. That's considerably lower than even during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic.
New research finds about 1 in 5 children ages 2 to 19 are classified as obese. Almost 2 in 5 adolescents overweight or obese. Dr. Bill Hierman at Vanderbilt University is the lead author.
The groups that are most at risk are children who identify as Black or African American and children who identify as Latino or Hispanic.
The grocery chain Trader Joe's tops Forbes' list of the best large employers in the country. Forbes senior editor Rachel Rabkin-Peachman.
Employees feel a sense of pride and connection to the brand.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 253 points. The S&P is up 1. The NASDAQ is higher. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're next to order. Please pull forward.
You know, Josh, when you said you were springing for lunch, I didn't think you meant drive-through fast food.
Ah, come on, man. Money's been tight lately, and these high gas prices are killing me.
You pay full price at the pump? Get your head out of the sand and start using Upside.
What's Upside?
Come on, dude. Upside is the free app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it every time I fill up my tank.
Does that really add up?
I've already banked around $200.
That's serious cash. Hi,
can I take your order?
Yeah, I'm ordering the free Upside app to start earning cash back on every gallon of gas I buy.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ORDER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ORDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ORDER for a 25 cents per gallon.
Local news brought to you by the Mississippi Candy Company, which has a huge selection of chocolates, gummies, popcorn, and more. Mississippi Candy Company on Dees Drive in Gluckstadt.
On a highway in North Mississippi. This afternoon's high is 74 and it's mostly cloudy. Tonight's low is 58 and it's mostly cloudy. Wednesday's high is 72 and it's mostly cloudy. The next rain chance is Friday and it stays in the 70s for highs for the rest of the week. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. Investigator Colby Knight with the Prentiss County Sheriff's Department was hit by a car north of Marietta on Highway 371 Monday, says the Sheriff's Department. According to his co-workers, he was alert and talking when he was taken to an emergency room in Tupelo. It has not been made clear exactly how that happened. Jackson State needs a new stadium and UMMC needs a new cancer research center, says Councilman Kenneth Stokes, and he's urging state lawmakers to make them both happen.
You can have parking, you have room to expand. We do not need to shortcut this council center. Jackson State, ask for your new stadium. Stand up and let's do it together. Let's build a new Jackson, Mississippi.
The cancer center would be built on the site of the current stadium, Veterans Memorial at State and Woodrow Wilson. A body was found in the middle of the street Monday morning about 12:45 on Brown Street, say investigators with JPD. The man had been shot several times. Police have not released the man's name and also have not announced any arrests. In Gulfport, 6 people have been arrested and charged with human trafficking. It was a case that started with a runaway girl back in November that police say was being held in a motel room by Michael Moses and Bobby Mills. That led to extra charges of kidnapping and forcible rape against Mills. Police say the girl was finally able to escape by going through a window. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
All right. It is not Andrew Gosser. It is Chris Hinkle, retired FBI agent, husband, father, newly minted grandfather. Another shout out to our middle son, Josh, who turned 27 at a little after 8:30. It was about 8:38 this morning when he officially turned 27. We're taking him out to dinner tonight. I am Chris Hinkle, also known as your blunt force conservative. I am undefeated on the constitutional debate stage. I have taken on all that have stepped on the stage with me. We do it civilly. We do it cogently. I have had the opportunity to debate attorneys that feel that just because they went to law school that they're experts on the Constitution. I also have taken on college professors who feel that because they can't they can teach, that they're experts on it. I want to encourage those out there, citizens, to go forth and learn about the Constitution. Go read the Federalist Papers, read the Constitution, reread the Federalist Papers, and then go back to the Constitution. You will have a better understanding of the will and intent of our founders. Real quick, for those of you watching online, we are streaming live on X at my account at capital B, capital F, conservative. Excuse me, all one word. We are also streaming on YouTube and Rumble. Just search for Blunt Force Conservative, and you will find that streaming there. I want to give some shout outs for those of you watching online. You'll see up here. I'm going to pull up. So I got a call. A mutual friend had made some recommendations that a media person out there, somebody that you would have heard of, that he needed someone with a little bit more knowledge and expertise on the FBI and what was going on up in Minnesota with some of the insurgency that's happening up there. And I do believe it is an insurgency with the citizens that are citizens and non-citizens up there interfering with ICE. And that, if you look online, it's Bill O'Reilly. So I got a call from the producer, a mutual friend, and made a recommendation. And the producer reached out to me, and we talked over several days about my thoughts on what was happening up in Minnesota. And Bill O'Reilly was kind enough to have me on his show on February 2nd. It was a good experience. He was very cordial. We did get a couple of minutes to talk before we went on the air. They put you kind of in a virtual green room on Zoom. And we chatted, and he thanked me for my service from time in the military to my 20 plus years in the FBI. I did send his producer a copy of my CV. So, and you can find my CV online. If you just do a search for me, you'll find my business out there. I'm not advertising my business here right now, but you can find my business out there, and my CV is publicly available of the things that I did during my FBI career and my time in the military. So Bill was very nice. I did remind him, and I know he wouldn't remember this, that on May 24th, 2001, I had been up in New York for a couple of days. I and a couple of people from my squad went up, and we had a Russian that was the subject of one of the intellectual property rights violation cases that I had going. So we went up into the Brighton Beach area to search the residence of and arrest this Russian. I'll talk about that story one day because it was very unique to any other case that I've ever worked. Not that he was a Russian, but he had there was another impediment that was in the way, and we will talk about that another day. But I reminded Bill that a mutual friend was friends with his producer at the time, and I can't remember the guy's last name. It was David something. They brought us in and let us take a tour of Fox News there at 1211 Avenue of the Americas. I got to go down and sit on the old Fox and Friends set, which is very small, given what you see on TV. I mean, it's just tiny. And we went around. I got to meet David Asman in one of the green rooms. David is one of their financial reporters that's there. I think he's hosted a couple of shows there. May still do that. And then we went upstairs to try to see if Mr. O'Reilly was in. He, of course, was not. And he did have the corner office up on the highest floor of their office buildings. A lot of things were piled up outside his office. And the producer was kind enough to drop a book, or the O'Reilly Factor book that he had just pinned off with my business card. And he was kind enough to sign it and mail it back to me, which I thought was pretty cool. He thanked me for that. He did say, if there's ever anything I can do, just let him know. I have not taken him up on that offer, but he has done some things as well, which I started getting some calls, which I've done what we call hits, pieces on Newsmax and some local TV stations. And I got a call from this next one, if you're looking online, from Leland Vittard's show. Leland used to be with Fox News as a reporter, and now he has his own show on News Nation. And they asked if I would come on and talk about the Guthrie kidnapping. I've got a background in as a hostage negotiator, and have worked a large number of some large cases that would involve a lot of the mechanics of how you would work one of these issues. And they were kind enough to have me on. It was myself, a fellow retired FBI agent, Tracy Walder, and then we had a local reporter that's really good at getting the information on what was going on in the Guthrie case. So I had the opportunity to be on that show. I think it was on the 6th, and I may be back on there tonight. I did get a text message earlier from them. I want to know if I could come back on tonight. We're going to have to work it out based on taking our son out to dinner tonight for his birthday. So if it does work out, I would not be able to do what they call the A block, which would be at 8 p.m. on News Nation, our time, on Leland Vittert's show, On Balance with Leland Vittert. It's on Monday through Friday at 8 Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. So I'm going to try to do that tonight. If they make it the C or D block toward the end, I'm going to be able to do that. If not, I've got some friends, fellow retirees that I've recommended. And then I just got a text while we were on the break. So I may be doing a Newsmax hit today. Let me see what time that is. It's wanting me to unlock my phone. So I may be on today, 4:15 p.m. on Newsmax. I'm not sure which show. It's probably whoever took over for Chris Salcedo. So I may be on that. So these things come in waves, and to give you a little bit of an idea of how these things happen, it started out years ago. I had just been asking some questions of some fellow retired FBI agents that are now part of a very private text group. There's about 5 or 6 of us in that text group, and a couple of us, well, 2 of them had been doing media stuff, and I started asking questions. And then the next thing you know, somebody makes a recommendation, and then you get a call. And my good friend, I've had him on the radio here with me and had him on the podcast, Chris Salcedo, that had the Chris Salcedo show on Newsmax. He has since left Newsmax and has got some other ventures. And we may try to have him on my podcast or here on the radio again to talk about what he's up to now. But he's a really good guy. He contacted me out of the blue to talk on the radio about some FBI stuff. His radio show on KSEV, he's still doing that in the mornings from 7 to 9 Central. And from there, I started doing some hits on Newsmax, and that had blossomed into getting calls from others. I think these producers are on some type of text message group or something where they pass the names around. But I'm more than happy to do it. I don't make a dime off of it. It's just for the exposure right now. If you're really good at it and you're polished, they may offer you a contributorship. I don't know, how all that stuff happens. I don't have an agent or anything. Some friends of mine, one of my friends, who's actually, he's not a contributor there. He should be. I think he should be. Jim Galliano is actually out in Arizona. Fox News contacted him yesterday to fly him out there. Jim is really, really polished on this stuff. He had been a contributor on CNN after he retired. He retired a couple of years before I did. So he did that for a little while, and then he was in elected office as mayor of Cornwall on the Hudson up in New York. And now he's kind of getting back into it. He does have an agent that helps out with that. Another good friend of mine, John Nance. He's a writer for townhall.com. John has been doing some hits. We've actually done some side-by-side hits on Newsmax. A great guy. And like I said, it's been surreal doing this. I know my family enjoys seeing me on television, and I got into this podcast thing based on the recommendation of my brother-in-law, Chris Allen. And Chris had been, for a number of years, hey, you really should get out there more about the things that we talk about and the things that we debate about. And that has started working. So I've kind of transformed my little office at my house that I set up in retirement. I do run a small business from there and do some other contract work and some teaching. And it has been fun to pull it up. I think I have more of a face for radio, although I'm streaming on this podcast right now. But it has been, like I said, surreal. I've really enjoyed doing this. I enjoyed when I get the opportunity to come up here to WYAB. It's a bit limited now because we do take care of our granddaughter Sutton during the day while our son and daughter-in-law are out working. But but that's kind of where we're at right now. So you might be able to catch me today in the 4 p.m. hour on Newsmax. Should be able to get home and get that locked down. And then you may see me on News Nation tonight. If not, catch my good friend Jim Galliano on Fox News. Like I said, when they fly you out there to do on-scene stuff, they're really interested in having you on board, and he's really good at what he does there. All of my friends are, but Jim's probably the more polished out of our group. We're going to go ahead and take our first break here. And when we come back, I want to talk about a Mississippi State Senate bill that's being sponsored by a Republican that I think I think it has some constitutional issues, and I think it should have some constitutional issues. And I will explain why I think it should have some constitutional issues, because I am not a big fan of when the government starts to infringe on our liberties. And I wish our elected representatives were more serious about about that. They take the same oath that I took as an FBI agent, and the same oath I took as a military member, and they should be more educated and knowledgeable on the Constitution. But we're going to take this quick obscene profit timeout, and when we come back, we're going to get into it. We're going to start talking some Mississippi politics, why I have a problem with this bill, and I actually hope that it fails. And I'm going to give you some tools that you can use if you want to contact this individual and weigh in. You may be supportive of it. You may not be. Maybe if you hear a couple of things that I have to say about it, about how I think it infringes upon your liberties, you might take some action to get this thing taken away. But again, it's Chris Hinkle. I'm your blunt force conservative, undefeated on the constitutional debate stage, and I'm in for Andrew Gasser on the Andrew Gasser Show on WYAB.
WYAB.
Weekdays 10 to noon in Jacksontown. On WYAB, it's the hottest show around. Andrew Gossett Show. Hey Jackson, turn it up. Let your message go. They're tuned in, you know. Put your business in the spotlight on the Andrew Gossett Show.
Advertise with Andrew. Email info@wyab.com.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
This Valentine's, guys, it's one stop and you're done. I'm John.
And I'm Corey Ravenstein.
At Juniker Jewelry Company, we have thousands of ways to say I love you without you having to say a word.
We are Mississippi's largest fine jeweler with case after case of rings, pendants, earrings, colored gemstone pieces, all at the lowest prices in the state.
Diamond studs from just $195.
Juniker sterling silver pieces start at under $250.
And our signature colored gemstone pendants starting at just $275.
Diamond pendants for under $995 and diamond tennis bracelets for under $2,000.
Maybe it's time for that diamond. Juniker Jewelry Company is Mississippi's direct diamond importer with more loose diamonds and settings than any store in the state.
Guys, it's one-stop shopping, and you're done.
This year, this Valentine's, come to Juniker's.
Your one-stop Valentine store.
Juniker Jewelry Company, 1485 Highland Colony Parkway in Madison, and junikerjewelry.com, Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
Pure Air Consultants offers services on your heating and cooling system. It's time to get your heating system serviced. We offer replacement, service, maintenance agreements. It's important because if you have a gas heating system, it can produce carbon monoxide. So you want to make sure you have your system serviced and cleaned to protect your family. You want to make sure your system is safe to run. You can find us on our website at mypureairconsultants.com, mypureairconsultants.com.
At Flora Animal Hospital, our team doesn't just take care of your pet's needs. We feel like it starts with the pet parents. If the pet parent is informed thoroughly and understands the situation with the animal and why certain things need to be done or certain medications need to be given, it's easier to get that done. Our website is floraanimalhospital.com. It'll take you straight to the online store where your medicine can be purchased, food can be purchased, prescription or non-prescription, and they will be shipped straight to your front door. floraanimalhospital.com.
All right. It is Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative, retired FBI agent, and undefeated on the constitutional debate stage. I take on all comers. I wish we could get some of our elected representatives to maybe tune in, or if we could get some of our schools. I would gladly go speak to civics classes and history classes about the Constitution and about what it means. Real quick before I get into this Senate bill that's being sponsored by a Republican, the Bill of Rights. So, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, you got your First Amendment rights, and a portion of the First Amendment rights most people forget about, and that's your right to petition and seek redress of grievances. Everybody knows the freedom of speech, freedom of religion. They might get freedom of association, but the petition and seek redress portion is something that is often overlooked, and understandably so. It's why a lot of our elected representatives don't highlight it, because that means you as the citizen have a constitutional right when you have a grievance to articulate that grievance to your elected representative. So when you hear your representatives out there try to blow you off, that they don't want to talk to you, go, call our call-in line, or, send me an email. Their staff is working on that. When you get the opportunity, when your representative is directly in front of you, unless there's some super urgent thing for them to do, they should be able to take at least a couple of minutes to talk to you. You can't lobby their entire time. And you definitely want to be nice. You don't want to bump into them and they're trying to watch their kid play soccer, and then you're pulling them aside and away from that to talk politics. Be civil. I do that. But when I do see them at events, so if you bump into them at a function like a luncheon, as I have done, be prepared to ask them some questions. Do it in a nice way. You don't need to yell and scream or anything like that. And don't do gotcha questions. I tend to ask questions based on what the elected representative is talking about. But getting back to our Bill of Rights, I hear people, throwing out this thing when, my First Amendment rights have been violated. I got a First Amendment right to do this, or I got a First Amendment right to do that. I got a Second Amendment right to do this or that. And I've commented online real quick about the Minnesota issue with the male nurse that ended up getting shot. You do have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms. You should be able to take it anywhere. You cannot use that firearm to commit a crime. That's where you cross over the line, and it doesn't deal with your constitutional rights then, because you're infringing on somebody else's rights to actually survive, to live. So when you go charging into a law enforcement operation with a gun on your hip, you're introducing a firearm into the altercation, whether you pulled it or not. The reason I tell people that, they say, well, he didn't have it in his hand, or he didn't, He didn't, have it aimed at anybody. Uh, I've done this experiment. We trained on it at the FBI Academy. Action is always faster than reaction. I guarantee you, I can have my hand, a gun pointed at you. I can have my finger on the trigger, and you can have a gun in the holster. If I have to wait to see, before I can act, if I'm waiting on you to pull that gun and shoot, you have a high probability, like 90 something percent chance of shooting me before I can pull the trigger and shoot you, because action is always faster than reaction. It is part of our survival tactics that they teach us, on disarming somebody that has a gun. And we actually did one experiment where the gun is actually pointed and pressed into your back, and being able to turn around and take that gun away before the person can pull the trigger. Uh, it, it is amazing. But your Bill of Rights protect you from government infringement, not your friends or your relatives or your employer or something like that. The only people that the Bill of Rights affects is government. It's a list of things the government cannot do. And one of those things that they cannot do is without due process. In other words, going through a legal proceeding, fully through a legal proceeding, and having a judge or jury weigh in and give you your due process of reaching that final verdict. They do not have a right to infringe upon your liberties. It's one of the problems I had with Pam Bondi as the attorney general, because she was big into what was called this red flag law down in Florida, where if there is an incident that the cops report to, or you have a medical professional that says this person's unstable, that the red flag would kick in and they would be able to take your firearms away from you. And I have a problem with that, because you're putting let's say it's a doctor, a medical professional, into a position of being the judge and jury on whether or not you should have a firearm. And it's very easy for a doctor to say, I don't think you should have a firearm. I don't know if any of you remember, and I don't know if they still do this. I know my doctor doesn't do it, but about 20 years ago, we were at the doctor, and one of the questions that they would asked me was, do you have any guns in the home? Do you possess firearms? And I refused to answer the question. It's none of their daggum business. They said, well, that's a question that they've advocated us asking as medical professionals. Well, the problem I have with that is it's none of their business. And I don't want the doctor deciding that, oh, I don't think that you're stable enough physically or mentally to have a weapon, so I'm going to contact somebody and have it taken away from you. That's not due process. That's what those red flag laws do. So getting to Mississippi here, and we're going to talk about this for a couple minutes, then take a break, come back, talk about it some more. We've got a Mississippi state representative, Bryce Wiggins. He is a Republican, according to his site, and he has put forth Senate Bill 2339. And this is an act to provide that it shall be, and I'm reading from the bill. It is an act to provide that it shall be unlawful for any person who is the subject of certain domestic restraining orders, or who has been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, to possess any firearm or ammunition. And then they provide a criminal penalty for that. So a quick summary of that is, makes it unlawful with state fines of up to $10,000 and 2 to 10 years imprisonment for persons convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence to possess firearms. It authorizes the courts in temporary or final domestic abuse protection orders to order law enforcement removal of firearms ammunition only if there's specified finding that continued possession poses a risk to the petitioner, minor children, or others. It adds procedural requirements, detailed petitioner statements for removal request, annual review of court forms, prompt registry entry within 12 hours, electronic hand delivery to sheriffs, and good faith presumption immunity from officers executing the removals. All right. Got some problems with this. I believe that your constitutional rights are absolute. That I take to heart the words that it says. Is my favorite justice of all time, Antonin Scalia, said, the Constitution says what it says, and it doesn't say what it doesn't say. Otherwise, 5 hotshot lawyers on the Supreme Court would run the country. So we're going to talk on other shows and on my podcast about some things that branches of government cannot do. That there are some actions that that each of the branches have that the other branches don't. And then we'll talk about, the 3, what they say, co-equal branches of government. We don't have 3 co-equal branches of government. One of them actually has more power than the other 2, and you'd be surprised which one that is. But here's the 2 problems I have with this bill. And if somebody knows Senator Wiggins, feel free to call in if he's listening. He can call in to 601-879-0002, and we can chat about this. But the 2 primary problems I have with this bill, and yes, I know that there is a federal law that's out there that I think is equally unconstitutional if it's doing things without due process. This first is authorize courts in temporary or final domestic abuse protection orders to order law enforcement removal of firearms, ammunition, only if there's a specific finding of continued possession. Well, who's making that determination? And have you had your full complement of due process rights? Have you been found guilty of anything? Now, we can pass some laws that say if you abuse your constitutional privilege of having a weapon and use that weapon to commit a crime, then yeah, all bets are off. You've committed a crime, you've done so with a gun, and there are some penalties associated with that. You don't get to carry a gun when you get sentenced into prison. However, I am a strict constitutionalist, textualist, where I say if you've done your time in prison and once you are paroled or you've finished your sentence and you're released, or it's overturned, even if you had a felony conviction on there, I do think that you should get your constitutional rights back. If they say, well, that's a dangerous, violent felon, we can't allow him to have a handgun anymore. You're going to let him have a hatchet, a chainsaw, a knife. It's not the inanimate object that commits the crime. It's the person using that inanimate object. So it's just another excuse to infringe upon those liberties. If the person is that dangerous that you don't want them to have a gun, why are you letting them out in the first place? Just a question there. Let's take a quick break. So when we come back, I'm going to hit this thing some more, and I'm going to give you some contact information for Senator Wiggins. Maybe he can call in and explain to me why he wants to infringe upon the constitutional liberties of some citizens, because I don't see it any other way there. I'm willing to debate him on that, but like I said, undefeated on that constitutional debate stage. Maybe he'll be the first. We will see you on the other side of this obscene profit time out.
Here to 1039 WYAB.
I'm speaking with Lee Bounds of Rapid Rate Mortgage. How does real estate agent Rita Jensen succeed when time is of the essence?
In today's market, it is so important to communicate and close on time. Typically have 30 days to close, get a home inspection, appraisal, title work, that kind of thing is a mortgage process. And a realtor relationship is so important. With a realtor like Rita Jensen with Remax Connection, she helps us to close on time.
RitaJensen.net.
This ad is for all the guys who work hard and they expect their truck to do the same. At RPT Commercial, we have the accessories to help you on the job site. From names like Bedrock Flatbeds, WeatherGuard Toolboxes, Nap-High Service Bodies, ARE Camper Tops, Deck Storage Solutions, and so much more. Stop by our new store on Highway 80 in Pearl and check with our expert staff and see what they can do to make the job just a little bit easier on you. At RPT Commercial, trucks live here.
CBS News brief. Congressional Democrats press key Homeland Security officials for the first time since the administration launched the deadly Minnesota crackdown.
God, I hope at least one person has been fired for their conduct since these operations have begun. Are you telling us you can't even say one person's been fired?
Sir, I'm not going to talk about personnel actions, but we will get back to you.
Also, before a congressional panel, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, there are calls for him to resign over his links to Jeffrey Epstein.
We had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife all together.
Well, CBS's Andres Gutierrez is in Arizona covering the long search for Savannah Guthrie's mother.
The FBI says they need the public's help more than ever. They believe someone out there has critical information, and they're urging that person to come forward.
CBS News Brief. I'm Steve Kathan.
Delicious food and a relaxing atmosphere combine to make the best place for sports fans and foodie fans to watch the game and just hang out. Capitol Grill of Jackson. Of course they've got the games, but food, oh my goodness. Mouth-watering po' boys, fish, steaks, appetizers, and a specialty pizza menu. Kitchen opens at 5 Monday through Thursday and 11 Friday through Sunday. And happy hours are daily at Capitol Grill. Also enjoy the all-new Tuesday night and karaoke on Wednesday and Friday nights from 8 till midnight with DJ Money Mod. Capitol Grill, DeVille Plaza in Jackson.
Back in 1984, we started the fast service oil change. And for over 40 years, Rapid Oil Change has been the leader in oil changes and fast service. We accept most major fleets and offer local 30-day in-house accounts as well. We do more than just change oil. From tires, wiper blades, tire sensors, just to name a few. Don't forget to show your ride some love with a trip to our Laser Wash 360, the best touchless wash in town, open 24/7. If you're not driving hard with Castrol Edge, come see us today. 6 locations, 6 days a week. We're ready to serve. OilChangeMS.com.
Hey, this is Ben Ingram from the Braves Radio Network. We're in commercial right now, so I want to let my sister take over and tell you about Hometown Property Group.
Thanks, Ben. This is Mary Claire Putman with Hometown Property Group. Whether you're buying or selling, we are committed to guiding you through your real estate transaction with integrity, exceptional service, and remarkable results. Madison County has been my home for 40 years. I'd love to help make it yours, too.
That's Hometown Property Group. Give them a call at 601-853-6080.
It can be hard to move past the guilt, times of weakness, and regret, knowing you weren't there for your family when they needed you the most. But there is life after addiction. We're seeing broken families restored, one man at a time, through our vehicle, cash, and thrift store donations. It's given Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge the ability to help these men succeed in having better lives. Donate a vehicle, running or not, and we'll come pick it up. Call today, 601-572-7296, or visit us at vehicledonationsms.com.
Oh, yeah, a little Fly Like an Eagle. Some of my junior high and high school music from my time. That'll give you an idea of what generation I'm from. Real quick, before we get back into this Senate Bill 2339 in the Mississippi State Senate, where it appears that we're trying, our legislators, at least one legislator, a Republican, is working on infringing upon your constitutional liberties. And again, if anybody knows him, have him call in 601-879-0002. Let me know what he thinks about it. If you want to reach out to him, his office, and he is State Senator Bryce Wiggins. It's 601-359-3237, and you can find him on X. I'm looking at his page right now, and his page is at B Rice Wiggins MS. So you can check out some of the things that he's talking about. There's a clip of him on Super Talk. He's talking about elderly lawmakers, and then he's looking to, this is where I would get on board with him. On February 5th, he posted something about, grateful my civics bill passed the Senate today. The problem I have often with these elected representatives is they have limited understanding of what the Constitution does and does not do, which is sad, since that is the one thing that they swear an oath to do. I've told you all about my conversation with my congressman, Michael Guest, and I think the most difficult question he felt, or at least I've heard that he felt when I asked him, was, tell me about a time that you observed a citizen's rights being infringed upon by the government. What actions did you take, and what was the results of that? And That's what you're up there for. That's your number one priority. It's literally the one thing that you swear an oath to do. I am on board with getting civics back into school. It definitely benefited me from my time over in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I always give a shout out to Miss Nichols, uh, Annabelle Nichols, who was my civics teacher at Tuscaloosa Junior High School, who challenged me to learn how to debate by assigning me things that I didn't believe in to see if I could still put forth an argument and win a debate. But yeah, Bryce Wiggins, he's at 601-359-3237. That's the office number there. And you can call and give him your thoughts on Senate Bill 2339. How do you feel about it? Are you okay with somebody that's not a judge or jury making a decision about whether or not you get to keep and bear arms? Do you want, a magistrate, just because they put a restraining order on you, to say, we're going to put this restraining order on you and we're going to take all your weapons? You okay with that? Because I'm not. That's not due process. That's not the final adjudication on, you're innocent until proven guilty. That tends to point towards some belief that you have engaged in some type of illegal activity, and it's already holding you accountable. I have a problem with that. Are you okay with a medical professional looking at you and saying, I don't think you're sound enough to own a firearm? Remember, I told you that those questions used to be asked when you would go to your medical provider. They would ask you questions about, do you have any firearms in the home? Do you have any children and firearms in the home? Listen, growing up, we had guns in our home, never had an issue with it. It wasn't something that was, that aroused curiosity, even with our kids. The whole time that we've had our children, and our oldest will be 30 in April. He's only known me from being in law enforcement. I was an Air Force Office Special Investigations agent, had a take-home weapon, and then my time in the FBI with a take-home weapon. We have personal weapons too. It wasn't something that that aroused a curiosity. My gun was in the house. He knew where it was. We talked about the dangers of it and training on how to use it, even when he was a small child. It just wasn't something that aroused his curiosity, because we didn't make it such a taboo thing. We made it understood, similar to, you don't want your kids putting a screwdriver into a wall outlet and shocking themselves. They need to understand that that's dangerous, but you also don't want to make it where they're kind of curious. Well, wonder what that feels like. Similar with a gun, we just took away the curiosity with it, and it was just something that was kind of an everyday thing. It wasn't something that, hey, let me go grab this gun and play around with dad's gun and pretend to be dad or anything. It just didn't happen that way. And I'm old enough that when I was in high school, we had gun racks in the back of trucks. Kids would go hunting, before or after school. It just wasn't something that was an issue. And you know what? We didn't have school shootings back then. At least I don't remember it. Well, none in the schools that I went to. I never heard of any. So anyway, looking at this bill, those two areas. So we've got authorize the courts in temporary or final domestic abuse protection orders. And again, that's still not adjudication. You haven't been found guilty of anything. They're just saying you got to stay away from, whoever they feel that you've been abusive to, that they're just going to take your gun away, to order law enforcement removal of firearms. And then they put only in there. They try to put these caveats in there so they can say, hey, don't take a look at the fact that I'm going to infringe upon your Second Amendment rights, that it says shall not be infringed in the Constitution. But we're going to do it because we just want to be proactive on this. Really, maybe I need to have some proactive things about some of my elected representatives. I proactively don't want you passing bills and taking more money out of my pocket. I proactively don't want you telling me things like you've already done, that we've eliminated the state income tax in Mississippi, when you absolutely have not. It was an out and out lie. It's projected, I think 2037, maybe, and it's a maybe. But what we did get were some increases in gas taxes and grocery taxes. Add procedural requirements, detailed petitioner statements for removal request, annual review of court forms, prompt registry of entry within 12 hours, electronic hand delivery to sheriffs, and good faith presumption immunity for officers. So what they're wanting to say is that the officers, because they will go and exercise this order, this lack of due process order, that they'll have immunity from prosecution on there. I wouldn't put so much stock in that, because let me tell you a little bit about my background. So when I transferred down here in 2006, beginning of 2006, one of the programs that I supervised as a desk supervisory special agent was civil rights. I've talked to you about some of the landmark cases that had the opportunity to work on. You know, I supervised the reopening of Mississippi burning, and we were the guys that worked with me there on the squad. We were able to go out and bring some closure to those families. We arrested 2 Klansmen, former Klansmen, or I guess still Klansmen, for the murders of the civil rights workers back in the 60s. So one of the areas that we have is color of law. It's 18 U.S.C. 242. Feel free to look it up. It says that a law enforcement officer, in exercising their constitutional authority, if they do that in violation of your constitutional rights, in other words, if they don't have a specific reason for doing things like telling you to shut up and you can't speak, telling you can't petition and seek redress, telling you can't go to church, not just law enforcement officers, but even our elected representatives, that would be a violation of federal law. You cannot do that, and you don't have immunity when you use that. And the FBI is duly charged under our laws, under the Constitution, to investigate violations of 18 U.S.C. 242. And we had a number of cases when I worked, when I supervised that desk. So again, I have a problem with this bill. The federal law that kind of mirrors this a little bit, and they're kind of trying to draw off of, is 18 U.S.C. 922 G8, unlawful to possess firearms, ammunition if subject to a court order that was issued after notice of a hearing, restrains the person from harassing and stalking, includes explicit prohibitions, this temporary duration of order and scope. But it does not create a blanket state of criminal prohibition. In other words, they recognized that they can't just go out and just take your guns. There has to be some type of due process. There has to be a final adjudication from a court system. All right, we're going to take our last break, come back here. So we got a couple minutes on the other side. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm doing now. I'll remind you that I may be on Newsmax in the 4 o'clock hour today, if you want to catch me there. And maybe tonight on News Nation in the 8 o'clock hour. Hopefully it's toward the end of that. If not, I got to make some recommendations of some people that I trust that would work out well for the Leland Vittert's show tonight. But we will be back, and I love saying this, we will be back on the other side of this break of this obscene profit timeout. See you in a few minutes.
Here to 103.9 WYAB.
Are you looking for a church family to connect with? One that will provide opportunities to grow in your spiritual life, as well as a chance to serve others? First Baptist Flora may be just the place for you. We're located at 102 Jackson Street in Flora. To worship with us in person, we have a traditional worship service that begins Sunday mornings at 8:30. Then our life groups meet at 9:45, and the Refuge Contemporary service begins at 11 a.m. We also have a midweek service every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. So come join us at First Baptist Flora, where we're making much of Jesus.
When it's time to get serious about work-ready equipment, come see me, Noah Sullivan, at H&H Chief Sales in Carthage. From rugged Big Tex trailers to durable CM and Legend X truck beds, H&H has what your truck needs to work harder and last longer. For the field, H&H carries reliable ag equipment from Salford, New Leader, and Chandler. Visit H&H Chief Sales in Carthage today or anytime at hhchiefsales.com. H&H, quality equipment, knowledgeable service, and solutions that work as hard as you do.
Have you been injured through no fault of your own? Do you know your rights? Don Evans does. Do you really believe that the insurance company would disclose all information to you? Don Evans will make sure that you are fully informed. It costs nothing to discuss your case. From car wrecks to malpractice, Don Evans will make you and your family whole again. Don Evans won't ever charge unless he collects for you. Call Don for a free, no-obligation consultation at 601-969-2006.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico's Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in and experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
Rotor's Plumbing of Pearl, your familiar plumber with the similar name. Locally owned and operated by Chris Rotor, Rotor's Plumbing is no franchise, simply lower prices and better service without the dreaded overpriced upsell. Rotor's is one of the few places you'll find that actually specialize in tankless water heater repair, as well as being your full-service plumber. And most importantly, service after the sale, meaning the techs actually answer your call, with misses averaging callbacks of 10 minutes or less. Rotor's Plumbing at roedersplumbing.com.
Looking to make technology work for your business instead of the other way around? Visit brentech.ms today. From reliable network infrastructure and wireless internet to cloud or on-premise backups, Brentech has solutions that keep your business connected, secure, and running smoothly. Don't let tech headaches slow you down. Discover how Brentech can simplify and elevate your business at brentech.ms. That's brentech.ms. Brentech, technology made easy.
The new year is off to a fast start, but you can't keep up if your vehicle is sidelined. Get to Mazda of Jackson and take advantage of these super deals before time runs out. Get 1.9% financing for 63 months on all 2025 Mazda CX-5s and 2026 CX-90s, CX-50s, and Mazda 3s with approved credit, and get 1-year maintenance included in your new vehicle purchase. Don't wait another minute to experience Mazda's exhilarating performance, top-notch safety, and reliability online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit I-55 Frontage Road.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind with friends and family? El Patrio Mexican Restaurant is calling your name. With locations in Flowood and Cross Gates, Brandon, El Patrio is the cozy, family-owned gym where great food meets great times. Enjoy El Patrio's signature margaritas and happy hour specials that keep their customers coming back for more. Indulge in their authentic Mexican dishes prepared with love and served in a warm, family-friendly atmosphere. Come to El Patrio and taste the traditions. El Patrio, where family, flavor, and fun come together.
All right. It's Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative, retired FBI supervisory special agent, sometimes guest host here at WYAB, sometimes on TV. Like I said, I did get a text. I may be on Newsmax today in the 4:00 hour Central Time. Feel free to tune in, and I will have my as appropriately addressed as a retired FBI agent, and as all FBI agents should be dressed in a suit. It is the uniform of the FBI agent. When you're looking for the person in charge at the crime scene, you're looking for the person in the suit. You're not looking for the person dressed like they're getting ready to they just left REI and getting ready to go on a hike in their cargo pants and boots. Just look the part and look the part. Getting back to what we were talking about, what I thought was hilarious. I have a good friend, Shell is what she goes by, and she is connected with the Rob Maness show. If you're not tuned into Rob Maness, you should be. He's got a great show. Does his podcast. He's on World Vision, I think, television network. I've been on the show a couple of times. Great guy. Shell, she goes by Shell Shocked, and it's CHELLE Shocked, TM. Used to be One Hot Tamale, I think, was what she did have on there. But apropos and to the point we were talking about here with Senator Wiggins and what I think is an unconstitutional Senate bill for several reasons that I detailed, that she said 5 reasons why I own a firearm. And there's 5 reasons. And the 5 reasons are, starting with number 1, I don't need a reason. That's true. You don't need a reason. The government definitely doesn't need a reason from you. They definitely don't need that. We've got about a minute left. So I'm not one to go out and beg for followers or anything like that. I've only been on this social media thing for about a year, a little over a year on X. But if you like what you hear, if you like the way I articulate things, if you don't like it, follow me on it. Give me a follow at capital B, capital F, conservative, all one word. You'll catch when I intermittently do the podcast here. You can also find me on Rumble at Blunt Force Conservative. And you can also find me on YouTube. Just search Blunt Force Conservative. You'll see the podcast there, and you can pull it up. If you like what I see, follow. If encourage other people to follow. I just looked. I'm just shy of about 3,000 followers, which to me is amazing, given that I've only been on here a short period of time and I haven't done anything that I think that has gone viral. But I do appreciate it. And if you guys do get a chance to talk to Senator Wiggins, let him know. Yeah, he can contact me. You can reach me through my X posting, send me a DM. He can send me a DM and we'll talk about this bill. I'm more than willing to have him on the podcast and we can talk about why he thinks it's not a violation of your constitutional rights, and I'll articulate why I think it is, and then you guys can make the decision. The only thing I ask is be civil and be cogent. So we are now down to about the last few seconds here. We will see you another time, and Lindsey Beckham is up next on WYAB.